Maayong hapon, kaninyong talang. It's either wala ka talagang sagot or iniiwasan mong sumagot.
Magandang araw sa inyo lahat. Ako si Christian at ngayong araw na to, ang kasama natin at kakausapin natin ay isang membro ng Kongreso. Napansin ko tong taong to nung panahon ng Quadcom at napakagaling niya. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our guest today, si Congressman Zia Adyong. Congressman Zia, kumusta po?
Thank you very much sa invitation. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
kung Zia, alam mo, no, bago nung Quadcom, hindi ko talaga kilala kahit sino sa mga kongresista natin.
Kasi ang dami rin namin, di ba?
Oo, 316?
That last Congress, mga 300 ganun.
Oo.
316, yeah.
So, hindi ko talaga napapansin. Pero dahil na nagkaroon na ng live stream at lumabas yung mga mukha nyo, at dito ko nakita yung mga performers. Isa po kayo doon sa mga performers na
salamat.
nakita ko. At nagulat ako na first term mo palang noon time na yun pala sa Kongreso.
Yeah, that was my first term. Second term ko na ngayon.
Ah, wow. At karamihan ata nung mga napansin ko mga kongresista noong time na yun are also first term members of Congress. Tama ba?
Karamihan nung nag-participate nung sa Quad.
Oo. At saka ang babata nung mga nagpa-participate.
Chairperson Jinky Luistro.
Yes.
Si Rog Gutierrez.
Rog Gutierrez.
Pare-pareho kaming pumasok. I mean, same batch kami pumasok.
At dahil sa inyo, nagkaroon ako ng tiwala sa ating kongreso. Nabalik yung tiwala ko. Naisip ko na maraming mga masisipag na mga bata na nagtatrabaho dyan na mukhang talagang gusto ng pagbabago at gustong ayusin ang ating lipunan. Ngayon, nung time na yun, Quadcom, nalaman ko that you're from Mindanao, from BARM.
Yeah.
Nagulat ako kasi ang akala ko ay lahat ng mga taga-BARM ay DDS. Did you ever support Duterte?
Politically,
Politically,
No,
did you ever vote for him?
no, we were not aligned. I never voted for Duterte presidency.
Pero taga Mindanao ka, taga BARM.
Yes, pero there are family members who are close to me who are really supporters of the Duterte. That's how politika naman in a family. Especially pag Mindanao, we're talking about Mindanao. So naturally, they're drawn to the Dutertes because they're from the same area. Pero if you ask me personally, did I ever vote for Duterte during the 2016? No, I did not. In our politics, in our family, we're not really aligned with the Dutertes. In fact, 2 consecutive elections in 2016 and 2019, my brother was running for governor at the time. He was actually fielded with the known Duterte supporters as his opponent in the gubernatorial race.
As his opponent.
As his opponent.
Okay. So your immediate family are all not aligned with the Duterte.
Yes, we're not political, we're not political aligned with the Dutertes, meaning we're not in the same political party.
So I'm sure may mga nagtatanong dyan at nagtataka kung bakit hindi kayo aligned. At saan ba yung political alignment mo sa ganun? O bakit ba hindi ka aligned sa mga Duterte?
Well, unang-una, we were not member of the ruling party. We were member of kasi PDP, diba? At the time, during his presidency. We are member kami ng Lakas. But late, diba? Lakas CMD. Later on, I guess magkaroon ng coalition at that time. Pero I don't know if it was official at that time, but there was some sort of a coalition. But still, when my brother ran for the governorship, he was actually given an opponent from the same party, the ruling party of PDP Laban. So if you look at it from hindsight, you would see that there's no alignment politically in to that respect, no.
I see. Okay. So nung naging parte ka ng Quadcom, may mga nagsasabi nga kasi na ano lang daw yan, pamumulitika lang yan, yung ginagawa nyo. Na hindi naman daw totoo yan. At meron kayong mga sariling interes kaya nyo ginagawa daw yan. At pagiging anti-Duterte lang daw yan. Ano sa tingin mo sa mga ganong sentimento?
Well, una, yung Quadcom kasi hindi siya binuo purposely for a particular target. Nabuo yan kasi simultaneously nag-hold ng committee hearings, investigation, yung 4 na komite. So ako, membro kasi ako nung 3 komite na yun. So sabi, napansin namin, teka lang, di ba ito nag-appear siya doon sa public accounts? Tapos pag may human rights committee naman, investigation, the same people, the same narratives, the same stories came out, diba? So, same mentioning of names. So, na-realize namin, teka, mas maganda ata, it would be more convenient for these 3 committees because we're talking about, kasi as we dig deeper, talagang teka, medyo organized ito na krimen. So we decided, I think at least the four decided to hold a mega committee so that they can discuss about, all of these things kasi interconnected siya.
Yes.
So that's what the Quadcom, that was that's what that brought Quadcom into life. Secondly, ako as a first termer congressman, talagang alam mo yun, andun pa rin yung
Gigil?
gigil na way na mas gusto mong matuto.
Yes.
'Di ba? Kasi una, nandun nakasama ko rin yung mga known na mga for example, known talaga na mga icon na mga legislator like the late Edsel Lagma. I had the privilege of working with him during the series of investigations or inquiries and hearings we had in the human rights. So, alam mo yun, you have that standard of yung standard of at least work ethics that you want to at least gusto mo rin makuha or maabot. So andun yung longing na eagerness to participate in all hearings. So kaya ako nandoon. Kaya ako nag-participate talaga because of my desire really to know more about what is really what is being discussed in the other committee, tapos still being discussed in the other committee. So it's more of curiosity.
Right.
Sabi nga nila, curiosity kills the cat. So yun yung actually that's my driving force. Why I really attempted to do my best and then be present and be actively participate during the Quad hearings. And nothing else. We were surprised. As we go along with the investigation and the hearing, we were surprised that names associated with the former president came out prominently, no? Like Harry Roque,
Right.
diba? So these are names that we weren't expecting to be mentioned. Alice Guo and many others, no? To a point that Michael Yang was even mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah, during the latter part of the Quad committee. So it just so happened talaga na merong ganung mga pangalan na associated with the former president.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Recently, if I'm not mistaken, may nahuli na naman sila mga illegal na mga dayuhan. 67 daw.
Yeah. Really?
Oh my God. Sabi ko, if I'm not mistaken, pero you can fact check me this. Nabasa
Kasi
ko lang.
nag-start yan eh. Nag-start yan dun sa, like ako, I filed a resolution. This was before the Quad committee was formed. I filed a resolution kasi apparently may mga banyaga, in particular mga Chinese nationals who were able to obtain citizenship through the process of pag-naturalize sa kanila. And then it appears na yung mga passports nila, it came from a certain area in Mindanao. So more than 200 plus. And that was investigated. Sabi ko, something is wrong with this.
Yeah.
Because if we allow, just like that lang, na kumuha lang ng citizenship, and then yung process na yung late registration, maybe may problema doon. Kasi they don't need to actually submit a birth certificate. Kasi late registration, you only have to have individuals will testify na ikaw nga ay dito pinanganak, etc. So how come, and sobrang dami, the rate of the applicants for late registration, not to mention that pare-parehong mga Chinese nationals, tapos iisa yung pinagmumulan nung mga dokumento na to para maging naturalized citizen sila, tapos ang taas nung rate nung nag-a-apply. Something is wrong. And then, bakit pare-pareho silang late registration? Ba't pare-pareho yung narrative nila? So, yun ang isa sa mga naging issue kung bakit yung public accounts actually also saw that there must be some sort of monkey business.
Yes.
Kung sino man yung in charge doon ng mga ahensya. And that actually came out yung issue ni Alice Guo.
Yes.
Isa siya doon sa mga So, this was before the Quad committee. We saw that there's that lapse in the implementation of the law to police at least man lang the barrage of applicants from one particular country who are mostly associated with Pogo,
Yes.
who are mostly associated with illegal activities in the country.
So, ngayon ba may nagawa na ba kayo na legislation to be able to close that loophole?
Yeah, actually we have already filed several bills ang Quad committee. Some of them actually intends to secure and more strengthen the policy in terms of immigration, in terms of securing, business permits, in terms of how the process of yung sinasabi nilang late registration by virtue of the pag-naturalize sa isang Filipino citizens. So all of these have been filed. Yung Pogo, number one, because illegal ng Pogo.
Yes.
That's the first thing that we have actually filed, and si Presidente nga nagsabi illegal na yan. So isa yon. And then about the immigration policies, sa akin kasi nung final ko, about how to actually land yung pag-acquire ng mga properties here. Kasi tinitingnan namin sometimes, nakita namin doon sa Quadcom is that they're taking proxies for them to legally obtain certain properties. No?
Right.
And then that's where they put up their illegal activities like Pogo. So among other things, yeah.
So at saka yung in terms of mga penalties against mga erring government officials sa PSA, I mean, Kong Adyong, aminin na natin
Zia na lang.
kasi Kong Zia.
Yeah.
Ako lang aminin na natin na yung korupsyon sa lahat-lahat ng mga departamento and ng gobyerno ay malala.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why we have the oversight function ng Congress not only to look into the possible corruption, sources of corruption, why are these things happening, but also to do some remedial action to cure whatever loopholes in the policies. So that's why we also maintain and we exercise yung oversight function. And I do agree with you. Meron talagang nangyayaring ganung corruption.
I mean, even on the clerical level, imagine mo, actual clerical level nga yung pinaka malala, yung bigyan ng pambayad.
Yeah.
Process mo na yan, magkano yan, tapos yan, pasapasahan. Pero walang nahuhuli. Naintindihan ko din naman, sa dami ng korupsyon, saan tayo mag-uumpisa? So, speaking of that, naalala ko yung sinabi ng ombudsman na anong gagawin niya? Arestuhan niya lahat ng tao sa, for example, DPWH. Kasi yung corruption, hindi lang naman sa taas yun
Yeah.
Lahat yan meron
Yeah.
In this case, sige, so anong pwedeng gawin ng Congress para maayos itong sitwasyon na to, considering na there are members of Congress that are also being implicated?
Well, number one, sabi ko nga kanina, meron naman tayong mandate naman and duty naman ng Kongreso to exercise our oversight function. That's why we have the investigation, we have inquiries whenever there's complaints or even problems, no? That's why it's very important nga yung media, sasabi natin fourth estate, di ba? In the fourth estate.
Yep.
Kasi it's how important your jobs are, no? Kasi hindi mo po pwedeng makuha yung complaint right away without the media doing their part. Not actually joining any partisan affiliation, but being in the middle and neutral.
Yes.
Na ito may problema dito. That's one thing that we can also have some sort of information that we gather from the media. That's why it's very important. Number two, of course, kailangan mo talagang makita kasi you cannot just also file complaint against anybody, against anyone without having the sufficient evidences. Kasi meron naman talaga tayong due process, di ba? We are actually required to observe the due process. You cannot just go around and throw allegations at anybody,
Right.
out in the open at any time of the day. You also have a sort of, a basis for you to complain and to implement certain sanctions. But the problem, kung tatanungin, it's more of how we implement policies. We have we have several laws, penal codes, etc. We even have the revised penal code.
Right.
We even have certain number of policies, not only just the the penal or accountability side of it, but we also have internal policing in each department. I think it's more of how we implement these policies that can actually curb the corruptions from the grassroots, from clerical level up to the top, no? So we do certainly exercise the oversight function, but at the same time, kasi that's the purpose of that is in aid of legislation, we look into the possible loopholes or if there are personnel or staff or employees that are involved in illegal acts within the agency department, what we can do is to recommend filing of charges. Okay. So kung ako tatanungin mo, it's more on how we implement. How do we implement properly not just the policies that better the agencies, but as well as to police their own ranks?
Yeah, kasi right now, ang problem nga is umabot na tayo sa punto na we have a climate of impunity. And especially sa mga makapangyarihan. Hard to deny now na nakikita mo nga, the more powerful you are, the more nakakalusot ka sa batas. Kitang-kita sa what's been happening right now in the Senate itself, in light of what's happening with the impeachment itself. And you're actually one of the key figures dito sa impeachment trial ni Sara Duterte. Ang tanong ko, ngayon na napasa na nyo yung impeachment to Senate. 257. That's
200
impressive.
Yeah, that 257. The previous impeachment is we obtained 215, 'di ba?
Ah.
So akala ng iba, akala ng mga analyst, wala nang susuporta diyan because now VP Sara came out very strongly
Yes.
saying that she is now running for president, and the numbers actually do go to her advantage because surveys are saying she's the strongest contender for 2020. The question is, why did the House voted 275 obtained secured 200?
Yes.
'Di ba? So, yung una na sinasabi nila matatakot na yan, that was proven incorrect.
Yes.
'Di ba? Pinakita ng House of Representatives that actually narrative is counterintuitive considering that their argument or their narrative is that the Vice President is the strongest candidate. Kung sinasabi nilang politika lang to, it would be convenient for the congressman to vote not to support the impeachment.
Yes.
It would be political convenient. Kung politika pinag-usapan
Yes.
natin. They could have supported the other way, the opposite side, the other way around. But it turned out hindi. Why? Because they learned after the series of confirmation hearings by the Justice Committee, congressmen learned how strong the evidences are, that there's really the probable cause. So we're talking now of not only Sara as VP Sara as a person, as a respondent, we're talking now of the entire accountability mechanism of the Constitution. The question now is, this is a litmus test to test the credibility of our institutions and how accountability mechanism in the Constitution can stand despite political pressure. And the House of Representatives has proven that.
Yeah.
So I was surprised. Even those members who were from the very start, akala ko, hindi boboto. Because some of them actually even did not support the previous impeachment complaint. Some of them during confirmation hearings were even doubtful as to the allowability, if I
Yes.
may use the term, would it be allowed for certain evidences to be presented during the confirmation hearings? But then, when the voting came, they voted in support of the... So it only proves to say that we passed beyond the political narrative, we passed beyond personality. This is now about holding the Constitution above anything else, that there should be a way for the people to realize that our accountability mechanism in the Constitution is alive and well.
I love the way you put that. At salamat talaga sa ating Kongreso. I'm so happy with what you guys did. Kasi nga, you could have easily not voted.
Yeah, kasi kung politika sinasabi, alam mo,
You need
if you're a
106.
politician, di ba? If you're a politician, na sinasabi the strongest contender would be the Vice President, of course, kung politika ang pinag-uusapan dito, dapat hindi ka naboboto.
Oo, kasi hindi naman kailangan eh.
Yeah.
Papasa na rin eh.
Yeah, at saka hindi ka boboto kasi you have to save your skin.
Yes.
If you are a politician, but it came out that many of the congressmen, members of the House, and I'm so really proud of what came as a result, na naging sila talaga, ang stand nila is for the Constitution, for accountability.
At saka hindi lang yun. Alalahanin natin that there were so many threats against Congress.
Exactly.
From PDP Laban, threatening. And then some religious factions threatening Congress. All of that pressure, yet hindi kayo
At
bumigay.
saka kami kasi, ako personally, I don't know with the rest of my colleagues, pero what appears to me kasi itong mga scare tactic na ginagawa nila, inisip ko, mas lalong nare-reinforce yung culture of impunity.
Yan.
Diba? If you're really standing for transparency, if you really to promote upholding the rule of law, that the belief that no one should be above the law, that pantay-pantay tayo sa legal na sistema sa bansa natin. Keso janitor ka, keso presidente ka, senador, congressman, pantay-pantay sa tingin ng batas. Pag nagkasala, panugutin. If you're really into that principle that no one is above the law, that nobody has the right to go around and then make some death threats to a person, hindi bawal yun sa batas, dapat it's clear for you where you should stand on this issue. I think it does not take rocket science for you to be, to analyze saan ako dapat. Yun lang, basic lang. If you're standing for accountability, if you're standing for the rule of law, and the belief that no one should be above the law, it's very clear for you where you should stand on this issue.
Pero even as you say that, I know that there are some that really stood along political lines pa rin. And
Yeah.
stood along regionalism. Yung may mga taga Mindanao pa rin na bumoto they voted no or they abstained or did not vote. Meron pa rin ganon. But masaya pa rin ako kasi marami ako nakita mga taga Mindanao tulad nyo na bumoto for the Constitution. Honestly, tama yung sinabi mo.
It's for the
This is
Constitution.
about the Constitution. Ito ay para sa bansang Pilipinas na eh. The accountability issue is something that needs to really happen. Dahil kung hindi, lalala pa yung impunity.
Yeah.
Okay, ngayon na umabot na tayo dito. Napadala ninyo sa Senado. At ang gulo ng Senado ngayon, today nalaman ko lang that the Secretary General has resigned
Yeah,
from
yeah.
their job. Ano na mangyayari
Well,
ngayon dito?
supposedly, yung mga presentation of articles of impeachment, no? But with the, kasi very crucial yung Secretary General, yung role ng Secretary General. Kasi it will heavily have an impact on heavily, no? On the daily operation of the Senate. Remember, the Senate, kailangan pa nilang convene into an impeachment court, diba? So they have not yet turned into senator judges. So it's important for the Secretary General because number one, kung merong presentation of the articles of impeachment, what we, according to their Senate rules naman yung magpapresenta niyan Secretary General, ibig sabihin babasahin. Okay, Mr. President, we are in receipt of the articles of impeachment,
Yes.
etc., etc. So the Senate President will act as a motion to adopt the impeachment rules and procedure of the Senate. So yun ang magiging basis for the Senate to convene and convert itself into an impeachment court. So without a Secretary General, I think doon magkakaroon ng isang delay, if you ask me, no? So it's really important that they have Secretary General and Secretary General who is not necessarily affiliated with any of the partisan preferences of any seating in the leadership of the Senate. Because nandun din sa Senate Rules of Procedure ng Senado sa impeachment ay kailangan political neutrality ma-maintain. Very clear doon sa kanilang Rules of Procedure for impeachment. Political neutrality. There's a specific section on that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
Binanggit mo
really
yung
interesting, yeah.
Senate neutrality.
Senate neutrality.
Ako mismo nakikita ko na. And
I mean, all of us should be expecting them to be impartial, diba? Kasi they'll be sitting as judges, diba?
Yun na nga eh. Pero paano natin ma-expect yan na nakikita mo naman may mga ilang senador dyan ngayon ay nagsasabi na nga na no matter what, iboboto daw nila to acquit kahit anong mangyari.
It does not benefit anyone if they do that. If you ask me, it does not benefit anyone. Because the prosecutors, we don't get anything from this, no? Personally, politically, no? We're trying to really uphold the Constitution here. So it does not benefit anyone if they do that, except for, of course, their principal, si VP Sara. Pero the problem really is, ano ang magiging effect nito sa ating Constitution? At sinasabi ko, yung litmus test, whether the accountability mechanism in the Constitution as framed by the framers of the 1987 Philippine Constitution do stand amidst political pressure.
Yes.
This is a test for statesmanship. This is the time for statesmanship. This is a time for the voice of the people to be heard and to carry out the mandate of the Senate being the court trial of the impeachment proceedings. It's no longer about issue on the Vice President. It's about certain allegations that have been presented backed by solid evidences. Can this be a probable cause for the Senate to hear, at the very least, hear these allegations? If they do from the very beginning threaten to block this impeachment proceedings, then they are not actually getting even with the congressmen. What they're doing actually is to step on the constitutional provisions for accountability.
Yun.
And what makes senators, now the public is actually looking at them. Kasi hindi lang tinetest dito ang respondent That's one of the things that are now being weighed and being judged is the Senate as an institution.
Yeah.
Whether they can carry out their mandate effectively and with impartiality.
Yun. And right now, totoo, tingin ko nararamdaman ng ating mga senador yun na talagang nakabantay na lahat sa kanila ngayon. At sa mga nagsasabi din dito na it doesn't stand to benefit Sara Duterte. Actually, I think it does.
What I mean is,
To proceed with the impeachment, it benefits her as well. Lahat.
yeah, it benefits the people.
Yeah,
No?
because kahit papano, si Sara Duterte dito ay magkakaroon ng pagkakataon to
Pagkakataon.
defend herself.
Exactly.
And if she gets an acquittal, medyo parang I'm sure gagamitin yan to vindicate herself and use that as a story, you know?
Kasi 'di ba, remember mo nung during the confirmation hearings ng Committee on Justice, every time na matapos yung isang ahensya na pinapresent nila yung kanilang mga nire-require na i-submit sa kanila, 'di ba? Every time na nagkakaroon before we even move on to another agency, the chairperson of the Justice Committee, si Congresswoman Jinky Luistro, tinatawag niya.
Yeah.
Kasi kailangan talaga according to the Supreme Court, ito back up by Supreme Court decision na rin to eh.
Yes. So,
You have the committee, yes, you're given the exclusive mandate to initiate impeachment proceedings, but you also have to be conscious about the due process that you need to extend to a respondent. No?
Yep.
So, ganun eh. That's how the committee exercise and you know, the due process, practice the principle of due process by calling out the respondent every time an agency finished their presentation and before we even move to another agency. So, it appears hindi sila nag-appear, 'di ba? Hindi naman sila pumunta doon. Maybe that's part of their defense strategy. Pero to me, it did not sit well to the public.
yes.
Because dalawang issue lang yan eh. Kung may allegation at di ka pumunta at di mo sinagot, dalawa lang yan. It's either wala ka talagang sagot or iniiwasan mong sumagot. So alin doon ang naipakita ng defense team, ng respondent?
Yeah.
Walang sagot or iniiwasan sumagot.
Yes.
So right now, sa Senate, dyan natin makikita, no? Kasi ang sinasabi naman nila, they will answer all this allegation in a proper forum. Now, the proper forum is the Senate. Kaya nga ako, nagtataka rin ako, kung yung defense are very eager to move this forward, in fact, they're very confident that they can debunk all the allegations, all the evidences presented, all that will be presented by the prosecution.
Yes.
Pakinggan mo yung kanilang interviews, no? Kanilang press conferences, they're very confident. No, we can get the Vice President off the hook kasi they're presenting a very weak evidences. They're happy. And yet, on the other side, yung mga senators who are closely associated with their team does not want or do not want you to proceed with impeachment. So, dapat sana isang yung narrative nila. Dapat yung mga known na mga kakampi ng Vice President, dapat wini-welcome nila din itong impeachment. Kasi yun ang ready ang defense eh. And as you've said, that's the only way they can actually get the Vice President off the hook. And that's how they can belie all these allegations.
Yes.
And the defense said, we will answer them in proper forum. So I think the senators who are known to be supporters of the Vice President should in fact welcome this. Because the defense team is very ready.
Yes.
So alin doon pala yung dapat sa bilang isang, not just one of the members, but even as a, ordinary Filipino, an average-minded Filipino, teka lang, ano ba talagang gusto nyo? I-ready naman pala yung defense ng Vice Presidente, ba't ayaw nyo?
Oo nga.
Ba't ayaw nyo naman mag-proceed, di ba?
Gusto nga ni VP Sara ng bloodbath. Saka yung ibigay yung bloodbath sa kanya. Parang, ano ba naman, yun ang
pagbigyan na lang sila ng opportunity, di ba? Pagbigyan sila ng opportunity na may pakita na mali yung mga akusasyon.
Yes. Kasi pag nagawa nila yun, pahiya yung prosecution.
Pahiya yung prosecution. Pahiya lahat, di ba?
Yes. So, tama
And that would actually reinforces the strength of the Vice President to run for a president. Diba? That would in fact give her that advantage politically.
Yes.
Kung ready yung defense at mapahiya sila, lalo siyang lalakas in 2028. So,
yes, that's so true. At saka so yun ang hamon ko sa ating mga senador. Ang hamon ko sa kanila is to be impartial. Ang hamon ko sa kanila ay maghusgahan nyo to base sa ebidensya. Yun lang. Yun ang hamon ko. Whichever way it goes, wala akong pake. Kasi sa akin, basta base it on the evidence. Personally, as a lay person, tinitignan ko yung evidence. Matibay yung ebidensya as a lay person. Nakikita ko yun. At hindi naman, ang hirap naman sabihin, paano mo dedepensahan yung isang impeachment charge na grave threat? Pero narinig ko mismo yung kasama niya sa Kongreso na conditional naman daw yun.
Pero sabi ng korte, there's no such thing as conditional threat. Kasi pag threat is threat. Diba?
Yes, exactly.
Hindi yung nagsasalita yung impact ng taong pinagsabihan mo ng ganun.
Yes.
That's what matters sa korte. Gano ka tatakot? Gano yung effect sa'yo? So, it's not really the one, saying all this threat. The basis for the court to say that whether that threat impacted so much on the person being threatened.
And alam mo, that particular charge, for me, sobrang importante yun.
Yeah.
Na makakuha tayo ng tamang husga dito dahil yun yung nangyayari sa ating lipunan mo yun na people threaten people now. Madalas yung mga threats na
Sadly, no?
nangyayari sa social media ngayon.
Yeah.
Malala I get a lot of death threats. I should play one of them right now. Gusto ko na nga sabihin, meron dyan nagte-threaten sa akin, yung talagang napapatayin ako, pupugutin ulo. Ganun na ang mga tao. Nalulungkot ako. Dati hindi ganun ang mga
Hindi ako
Pilipino. Pero ngayon umabot tayo sa punto na may mga Pilipinong ganun na.
Nasira kasi, kaya nga kaya parati namin sinasabi, ako at the very least sinasabi ko sa akin mga constituents na we assume this office, we were elected to this office because of the trust, di ba? And confidence of our constituents. So, kailangan alagaan mo yun Dapat alagaan mo yung tiwala. Hindi yung alagaan na tiwala na gagamitin mo yung influence mo to abuse the trust to a point na yung dapat na gagawin mo as a public officer, as a public servant, ay nakakabigay ka ng ibang impluwensya or example sa ibang tao. Kasi they look up to you as a role model, di ba? So that we have to carry ourselves as, especially as public officers, we have to carry ourselves in such a way that would impact onto the public na may certain standard na hindi dapat na ma-maintain, na hindi dapat masira. Unang-una, ugali.
Yun.
Character, di ba? Hindi dapat yun. Hindi dapat yun ma-compromise mo yun. Hindi mo dapat gamitin yung influence mo para instead na maka-shape up ng isang values. Kasi being a public servant, like for example in my case as a legislator, my job is not only to legislate. My job is also to join to be part of the value formation na ginagawa, Ibig sabihin, makabigay ka ng magandang dahilan or impluwensya na mas magiging maganda yung takbo ng isip, pananalita ng bawat isa. Actually, kung di ako nagkakamali, sa buong mundo ata, ang Pilipino lang yung respeto, yung politeness, yung pagiging makatao is very evident in the way we speak. In our language, andun yun Po.
Yes.
Diba? Ho. Minsan pagkausap mo yung medyo matanda sa'yo, hindi yung katulad nung kinakausap mo yung kaedad mo. Halimbawa, kumain ka na ba? The way you were.
Yes.
Pero pag medyo maedad or matanda sa'yo, ang sasabihin mo is, kumain na ho ba kayo?
Yun.
Di ba? So makikita mo yung karakter ng Pilipino na marespeto. As sadly, tama nga yung sinabi mo, medyo nag-i-erode yun
Yeah.
It's also because of the kind of leadership in the politics that we have right now. I think this is really sad, no?
Pero alam mo, nakikita ko na lately, because nga of you guys, yung mga bagong mga kongresista for example, iba yung ugali nyo kaysa yung mga mas matagal ng mga politiko.
Baka kasi nagka-catch up kami.
Sana hindi kayo maging ganun. Yun ang punto ko. Kasi yung mga dating impression natin ng mga kongresista o mga senador ay parang pag kumilos sila ay parang sila ang mga Diyos ng lugar nila. Parang sila yung hari Ganun yung dating Ngayon, napansin ko na parang mas makumbaba ang ating mga kongresista ngayon. Pag makipag-usap sa tao, pag magsalita, at mas maayos. Ibang-iba talaga yung nakikita ko, especially doon sa mga bago. Kaya nga, siguro doon ko nakikita yung mga bagong kongresista sa mga mas matagal na Yung mga mas matagal na may iba dyan, parang pag kumilo sila, kala mo kung sino Pero
parang feeling ko rin kasi nasa rin, yung pag nag-evolve na rin
nag-evolve na.
Nag-iba rin yung mindset ng tao, no?
Yes.
Sa ngayon kasi, because of social media, yung advent ng technology natin, yung tao, they own parang they try to own the narrative. I mean, mas nakilala ngayon yung social media, pwede ka na mas nakikilala mo yung leader mo. In fact, yung mga leader, nagtitiknok na rin. Diba? Para just to be identified with the people. I think that kind of shift to the narrative of the people owning the process and owning the government, in fact, makes the leaders now more inclined to be more identifiable with the people. That's why it's medyo sabi mo, medyo accessible. Pero I think yung sa akin naman, let me just yung sa akin naman, I grew up looking at politicians, senators like in the likes of Salonga,
Wow.
in the likes of I haven't actually, hindi pa ako pinapanganak doon, but these are the people na naririnig natin, like the Elder Tanyada.
Yes.
I grew up listening to Ople, Senator Ople,
Yes.
si former Senate President na naging Chief Justice din, si Fernan, to some point, the Osmeña brothers, cousins, sila yung Miriam Defensor. Yeah, diba? So, sila yung nakikita natin na may certain, pag nagsasalita sila, maski hindi sila agree doon sa sinasabi ng iba, ay mayroon pa ring statesmanship eh. Mayroong, alam mo yun, these are the old
Yes,
these are the
exactly.
old leaders and old politicians. So, ganun naman yung impact sa akin. Yeah.
Nice. So kaya ganyan yung demeanor mo ngayon at decorum.
Well, I think so to some extent because I look up to them. Earlier, kanina sinabi ko, I have the standard of the likes of Edsel Lagman. I could not be at par with them. I could never actually imitate them. They have their own way of serving the people, how they present themselves to the public. But at least I have a standard in which of these leaders to follow their footsteps. Yeah.
And also, gusto ko na rin tanong sa'yo, since you're from BARM and you won second term.
Yeah.
Even with your stance and the way you've been conducting yourself, with my impression, akala ko talaga yung mga kalaban ng mga Duterte sa Mindanao ay matatalo sa eleksyon. At hindi yun ang nangyari. In your case, yung mga constituents mo, how are they? Would majority of them align with the Dutertes o hindi? O anong posisyon? Anong iniisip ng mga tao sa at least sa iyong sa iyong distrito?
Every election kasi parang litmus test yan eh, di ba? How effective are you as a legislator? Ako, I can humbly say na the reason, the way, as evidence my re-election is baka satisfied naman yung aking mga constituents kasi pinabalik nila ako despite my position in the 19th Congress na alam naman natin I was active in the squad, I signed the impeachment complaint. Of course, there's backlash. Meron talagang backlash kasi marami, Mindanao, alam naman natin talagang yun ang foothold ng mga Duterte, ang Mindanao. But the people, when it comes to election kasi, they really test whether you are effective as their representative. At least in my case, kung nakaserve ba yung purpose ko sa kanila, kung naibababa ko ba yung mga serbisyo, at least yung through my office, kung meron bang base yung services na binibigay sa kanila. Mukhang pasado naman yun. But as to the national issue, now that it's evidenced also by the way the vote came out from Mindanao.
Yes.
Not only me, but a lot in my area, in my region, all of us except for one who abstained, all of us voted in favor of supporting the impeachment, meaning voted yes. In Mindanao, I was really surprised because yung mga hindi ko in-expect na lugar, yes ang boto dun sa impeachment. Misamis Oriental to name a few, all of them, the two representatives from Misamis Oriental voted yes to the impeachment. The two gentlemen from Cagayan de Oro City, one of which will be part of the prosecution team, voted in favor of the impeachment. I'm mentioning this area because this is known bailiwick of the Dutertes. So I think it came to a point where congressmen and even people in Mindanao, because they're also starting to know exactly if these allegations have basis.
Right.
Ang tao kasi, pag parating ang nature ata ng tao yung magsaliksik, di ba? Kung may allegation, sabi nga if there's smoke, there must be fire somewhere, di ba? So, kung hindi sinasagot, kasi yun hindi sinagot at iniiwasan sagutin. Puros ad hominem yung naririnig mo sa side nila. Ang tao, even if they're supporters, nagsasabi, bakit hindi mo na lang sagutin? 'Di ba? Ba't di mo sagutin per allegation?
Mhm.
'Di ba? Kung halimbawa ako, supporter mo, Chris, tapos may mga allegations sa'yo, I will be the first one to approach you and say, please answer this.
Oo.
And please, di ba, because I am loyal to you, I support you, please answer this and, prove to me that they're wrong.
Yes.
Diba? So, kasi hindi sinasagot, iniiwasan, people even in Mindanao started to now ask questions whether these allegations have validity or legitimacy
Alright.
in them, 'di ba? And it's evident by way the votes came out during the approval of the articles of impeachment. That surprisingly, many Mindanaoan Solons voted in favor of the impeachment. 25 of them voted no, but some of them abstained.
Right.
So that's the minuscule of how the Philippines as a country now thinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of the impeachment again, yung ating dream team, 11 sila.
Yeah.
Napag-divide na ba kung sinong tatanggap, sinong mag-aasikaso ng mga iba't ibang mga impeachment charges?
Well, that's part of the strategy. I'm not at liberty actually to
Hindi
mention
pwede bang banggitin yun?
Hindi naman sa hindi po pwede, pero I don't want to preempt whatever is the strategy of the prosecution team. Ako, support naman tayo sa prosecution. Just think that it's preemptive now as
Right.
considering the Senate has yet mayroong sariling problema ngayon ng Senate. Hindi pa nga natin alam kung magkukonvene ngayon
Okay.
'Di ba? With all the happenings now in the Senate, it's so unfortunate, no? First time first time sa Senado nagkaroon ng ganun. Nothing could worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing that would happen is kung may patayan, pero sana hindi naman, I'm so glad na walang nangyari,
Yun na
walang
nga
nasaktan. Pero that's the worst thing that the last bastion of democracy,
Yup.
the Senate. So itong nangyari. So we're not even sure whether the Senate would convene now. So hindi natin masasabi kung what would be the role of each of the prosecution would take.
Okay.
play
And pero ready na ba yung prosecution?
Yeah,
Do they have
very
everything?
ready. Yeah.
Yung pinakita ba nung Congress yung sa Committee on Justice hearing, hindi pa yung lahat ng ebidensya?
Well-
Marami pa ba na lalabas sa Senate trial?
That is part of the strategy.
I love it. Okay.
Tabayan na lang natin, yeah.
Okay, sige. Tapos hindi lang yun. Di ba meron din kayo mga private lawyers na kasama
Yeah.
ng prosecution team?
Yeah, that's
Kasi tinignan ko yung defense team. Wow, yung mga pangalan na yun. Kumbaga parang kung may dream team yung prosecution team, na napansin ko mga bata ang mga nandoon or mga may mga ilan
It's a mixed of it's a mixed of different age
Oh, sa
brackets.
you're right. It is a mix, you're right. Pero nakita ko sa defense team, parang ito yung mga ginamit na pangalan dahil sa mga reputasyon nila. Mga Fortune, mga Narvasa, yung mga nakaharap na sa impeachment.
And
Si
they're very
Narvasa.
experienced. They're very good
Oo.
lawyers, yeah.
Pero kung ganun sila kagaling, para sa akin, ang nagtaka lang ako, imbis na humarap sa Committee on Justice hearing, humarap sila sa media, nag-press con. Doon ako natawa. Sabi ko, mga abogado ba to? Mga vloggers.
Ganun ba?
Oo, kasi di ba kung abogado ka, kaharap ka sa hearing. Hindi ka haharap sa media. Nag-media press con sila. Dinefend nila sarili nila. Si VP Media.
Yeah.
Where they cannot be scrutinized. Where nobody can rebut their statements.
Because I think that's where their comfortable is.
The media.
No, the defense, I don't know if it's part of their strategy, maybe. Pero balikan ko yung sinabi natin, it's dalawa lang yan eh. Kung di ka nag-appear, it's either you don't have the answer or you do not want to answer. Diba? Ganun lang naman yung
Okay.
reason yan. And maybe what they're doing is they're more comfortable in the press conferences, diba? Pero magagaling ito. Tama yung sinabi mo.
Oo.
I mean, maybe the part of that is since the impeachment is both legal and political. So makikita natin kasi yung way itong mga organizations and mga groups who are pressuring some of the leaders not to support this impeachment, part of their scare tactic. And I think one of the things that probably I'm just analyzing and observing how I look at the way the defense team, decided to engage the media instead of going to the hearings is that, para sa akin, part of keeping the energy alive as far as their, mass support system is concerned to, again, pressure. So if you keep up the narrative,
right.
their narrative na ito'y politika, sinisingle out,
Right.
'di ba? Ang Vice President, hindi kami pupunta doon kasi hindi dapat pinipresent itong ebidensya, dapat doon sa Senado. So talagang politika ito, hinaharas yung Vice President. They keep on continue on this narrative. Of course, that's the ingredient to galvanize continuously their mass support base. And in return, the ones that will be voting the impeachment will felt the pressure on the ground.
Okay.
So parang strategy din yun. That's why they decided to go. Which is unfortunate, by the way.
It is, of course.
Kasi hindi nasagot eh. Baski yung mga supporters ng yung naniniwala sa kanila na disappoint kasi bakit di sinasagot?
Pero ang nakikita ko kasi yung mga, well, actually hindi mga supporters, sige, yung mga trolls. Nakikita ko yung mga trolls sila, ang tinutulak na naratibo din ay wala kayong moral ascendancy para maging prosecution team or to even impeach dahil kayo may hinaharap na mga issue tungkol sa issue ng flood control. Nilalahat nila ang buong kongreso dito.
Yeah.
And I can understand why people will see that. Pero alam ko naman hindi naman lahat ng miyembro ng Congress ay sangkot sa korupsyon eh.
Well, yun yung sinasabi kong is easy to that's an easy argument for them to take on to cast doubts on the impeachment process ad hominem. Yung kaya sinasabi natin if you don't have if you cannot sabi nga nila if you cannot counter the message, you shoot the messenger. Di ba?
Right.
Ganun yun.
Oo nga
Yun ang tactic na ginagawa nila eh. So
Oo.
hindi nila madiretso yung mensahe kasi wala silang pang-counter. So tinitira nila yung sinasabing allegations or yung generally yung sabi nilang yung hasty generalization, yung principle ng hasty generalization. Pag parte ka ng isang institution, you probably be the same, all of you. So parang ganun. So, yung issue kasi nung moral ascendancy and moral accountability na pagdating sa issue nung let's say flood control, 'di ba? Tama yung sinabi mo, there's an issue for that flood control and it's an ongoing investigation. So you cannot just cast doubts on the process by the Constitution stipulating it and giving it that right exclusively for the institution. We're not talking about individuals.
Right.
The individual members are just accidental. The Constitution gives duty and mandate to the institution, meaning the House of Representatives, to initiate the impeachment process. Hindi ka po pwedeng sabihin mo hindi na kayo po pwedeng gumalaw kasi some of you might be implicated. Diba?
Right.
That's a wrong way of looking at it. Kasi parang kung ganun yung ating naratibo, edi wala nang mangyayari sa ating bansa.
Yes. Wala
Diba?
nang accountability.
Wala nang accountability.
Wow.
Kasi parang, pare-pareho naman kayo eh.
Kaya.
Pero still, it does not answer the allegation itself.
Right.
Instead of, mag-present na lang kayo ng counter evidences yun. And that's what we've been trying to get and solicit from the defense team. That's why they're given the chance to present during the confirmation hearings. Wala eh.
At saka hindi lang yun eh. Ang nakikita ko ding isang strategy at alam naman natin lahat ngayon na itong impeachment trial na to is also based on public opinion.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think ang labanan na nakikita kong ginagawa ng kampo ng mga Duterte dito ay kung sinong kayang mag-dominate ng headlines at kung kaninong naratibo ang tatanggapin ng taong bayan ay yun ang mananalo. So in other words, regardless of conviction or acquittal, kung sino ang mapapaniwalaan ng majority ng taong bayan, yan ang mananalo dito. So hindi lang yung labanan sa actual Senate trial ang important, it's ang labanan dito ay sa naratibo at kung ano ang paniniwalaan. Kasi kung mapaniwalaan ng tao na, let's say for example, lumabas na napaniwala nila ang taong bayan na inosente si Sara Duterte tapos nagkaroon ng conviction, walang magtatanggap nung conviction na yun. And other way around, vice versa. Kung nakita in the public sphere, in the public opinion, na guilty to beyond reasonable doubt, tapos inacquit nila, hindi din tatanggapin ng taong bayan yan. At dito mahuhusgahan ang institusyon natin. Kaya importante talaga na ang laban ng prosecution at ang Senado ay yung on top of the legal aspect and the political aspect is the public opinion, the space of public opinion.
Yeah.
And that's an important battleground na kailangan talagang ma-dominate din ng prosecution team.
Yeah, I think nare-realize naman natin 'yan, 'di ba? Kaya kailangan natin maging also to take part in, opportunities for like this, no?
Yeah.
Interviews para ma-translate natin kung ano yung dapat na malaman ng ating taong bayan. Hindi it's just so happen. Sabi ko nga kanina, personalities are just incidental. What matters are the allegations. At saka yung mga nakumit na sinasabi sa Constitution, hindi mo po pwedeng gawin to. Regardless who you are.
Yes.
'Di ba? So para ma-translate sa ating taong bayan na hindi po personalidad yung nasa nililitis. Ang naglilitis po ngayon ay ating konstitusyon.
Right.
Nililitis po na isang personalidad ng konstitusyon na sinasabi na hindi hindi mo po pwedeng hindi i-disclose sa SALN
Okay, what?
yung inyong property. From 2019 up to 2024, ni isang cash on hand or deposit wala siya. Naniniwala ka ba doon?
Hindi.
Okay, so nawala si CJ Corona because there's some sort of this non-disclosure of his dollar accounts.
Yes.
Pero he was stripped off from, he was removed and not fitting to continue as Chief Justice because of that. How much more this SALN? Number two, yung mga sinasabi ng mga bangko na there are suspicious transactions, no, sa AMLA na nag-coincide naman, kinonfirm naman ng AMLA yung listahan ni Senator Trillanes, date, time, amount, and branch na sinubmit naman commercial banks sa AMLA which are suspicious. So accordingly and allegedly, these are sourced out from the same person, which I think Mr. Oy was
Sammy Oy.
Sammy
Yeah.
Oy was known to be a close ally, associate of Michael Yang, who happens to be the economic advisor of the former president and who has several allegations of being part of an illegal illegal drug trade. So continuously nagde-deposit. Yung mga allegations of utilization of the confidential funds, ang sinabi mismo ng PSA na walang pangalan si Mary Grace Piatos. Wala kaming record kay Kokoy Villamin and many others, no? Na nagsasabing may tao na nangangalang ganito at naka-receive. And even the documents that were presented, testimonies of the AFP saying that they were not partnered with DepEd when all of these utilization funds were released and implemented as a way of reward to an informant or purchase of information. So wala, sinabi ng PSA, wala. And the NBI says that the signatures for the utilization of the public funds, confidential funds, are probably signed or doctored by same person.
Ah, okay.
Diba? Kaya,
Right. I
may
remember
mga
that.
discrepancy. So I'm just laying down the probable cause, no? Number two, sinabi ng COA, you have to give back. There's a term for that and the legal term restitute.
Restitution.
You have to restitute, and we're not just talking about the 125. A portion of that is 73 million that needs to be restituted. Meron din pong sinabi ang COA sa ngayon ng ICFAO. Kasi ang ICFAO hindi lang COA. ICFAO kasi yun ang dedicated na division para tingnan yung paggamit ng confidential funds. Ang ICFAO, yung Intelligence Fund and Confidential Funds Auditing
Okay.
Unit, ICFAO. No? Ang sinasabi nila, hindi lang yung kailangan ibalik, meron din sa first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter ng kung ako nagkakabali is 2024 na disallowed din.
Yes.
Na hindi po dapat, kaya binigay sa iyo yan dahil dapat may purpose yan at may pangalagaan mo yan at gamitin mo sa tama. May joint circular. So hindi nila ginagamit doon. Kaya may disallowance at kailangan ibalik. Yung sinabi ng NBI na hindi doctored yung allegation ng pagte-threaten sa life ng presidente, ang kanyang may bahay at former president, na it was made not doctored yung video pero talagang sinabi niya ito. So threats, all of these things we have established that they have probable cause for it to be elevated to the Senate, no? So para sa akin yun sanang dapat natutukan kasi ang sinabi ng Constitution, pag ikaw ay nahalal na presidente, vice-presidente, mga huwis ng Supreme Court at Appellate Courts, mga commissioners ng COMELEC, pag kayo'y nakalabag sa ganitong sinasabi ng Constitution na mga violations, pag ito'y ginagawa nyo, dapat kayong litisin ng Senado na umuupo bilang korte at ng House of Representatives na umuupo bilang prosecution, na sila lang yung may mandato na gawin ito. Ang Constitution, ang on trial dito ang respondent Vice President, pero ang naglilitis ang Constitution.
Yeah. Tama yun. At Kong Zia, alam mo, ang dami pa natin pwedeng pag-usapan. Ang dami pa akong gustong tanong sa'yo. Actually, kaya naubusan na tayo ng oras. Pero siguro ito na lang, kung meron kang mensahe para sa mga constituents mo at mga fellow Mindanaoans mo na nanonood ngayon, na nakabantay din dito sa impeachment, anong mensahe mo? And you can speak in whatever dialect you want. You can actually address them.
Okay. Maayong hapon, kaninyong talang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Giyang kay kapapantagan raktano issue sa giyang kay impeachment ay tano den tano na langon na mapulaw la si langon na pagistoryan si langon na mapenutul siya langon na kipresenta prosecution na palapaled na ad na ebidensyaon agi nakapakapiag yang kaya kapakabagar o accountability measure agi yang kay itino Pilipinas ayam sumiyugo si inagid na constitution tano kanaba ini target ko sa kataw sa kataw-taw kagiin na para pakabagar. So accountability again kay Pilipinas asiman mapapadala mo sa constitution. Kini nga atong gibuhat karon duty ni sa atong mga congressmen nagihatag exclusive sa ilaha sa constitution. Ang Senado naagud sila exclusive power aron magsugod og trial kang Vice President Sara Duterte. Ang akong pangayo sa inyo tanan, let's maintain a neutral, an open mind, appreciate the process, and look at the evidences that will be presented. So para ito sa ating bayan, para ito sa kakuunlad ng ating bayan, para po ito sa ating magiging sunod na henerasyon at yung magiging standard ng public service sa mga susunod po na magiging leaders ng ating bansa.
Ayun. And actually, babagitin ko lang one last thing, Kong Zia. Alam mo, may lumabas nga pala na, na sinasabi na kailangan nila ng representative na magre-representa sa mga Muslim. Taga Mindanao. Tapos ang isang lumalabas sa pangalan kasi, babagitin ko lang special mention kay Sen. Robin Hood Padilla na siya daw ang nagre-representa at naglalaban sa mga karapatan ng mga Muslim daw. Alam mo, para sa akin, kung talaga may representa sa mga Muslim, ito si Kong Zia na lang. Okay? Mas tama pa to. Mindanaoan na, Muslim pa. At mabait na. Mabait na naman si Kong. Mabait naman si Sen. Robin Hood Padilla. Pero sa totoo lang, anyway, yun ang nasabihin ko sa'yo. Pero Kong Zia, thank you so much sa oras mo at I hope this won't be the last time na mag-usap tayo.
Yeah. You just invite me anytime. Pasensya na, medyo mahaba ako sumagot talaga eh. Kaya no
Okay
problema
lang.
sabi ng wife ko sa akin, masyado ka kasing madaldal eh.
Baka sabihin yan ulit dito sa video natin. Anyway, salamat Kong Zia. Salamat sa mga viewers. At pag nagugustuhan mo yung mga ganitong klaseng content, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. At kung may mga komento kayo, agree or disagree, sulat niya sa comment section sa ibaba. Salamat sa inyo lahat. Ako si Kristan with Kong Zia. Magkita tayo muli sa aking susunod na episode.